Alright, so we're headed to the airport and I have my carry-on and my backpack and another carry-on with my umbrella, and this is it, no turning back. And if I don't have it with me now, I guess I'm buying it in Tel Aviv. And we're off! Woohoo! The moment of truth. No, the real moment of truth is coming up.
Yes, the real moment of truth is the first day on the trail.
The first step. Enjoying the KLM lounge at the airport, and soon I'm going to be in Tel Aviv and I just can't wait.
Yes.
So this is it. This is totally crazy. I'm in Jaffa now, just outside of Tel Aviv. Just arrived, and I'm staying at a hostel that I've stayed at before. It's a Christian hostel that was recommended by a friend. And I've stayed before in a dorm room. I've never stayed in a private room, so I have a private room this time, and it's amazing. You know, I mean, it's not a five-star hotel, but I have my own space. It's a very decent room, and I'm totally looking forward to this. This is crazy. I can't believe I'm in Tel Aviv. It's far too long since I've been here, and I just can't wait to get doing stuff, but I feel like it's so unreal. Am I really doing this? Whose decision was this? Who's doing this? So I left home where it was 22 degrees, sunny, a beautiful fall day, and arrived in Tel Aviv. It's 32 degrees, and I'm sure the humidity is probably like 120% or something. And yeah, I knew it was gonna be like this, but still it just always is a bit of a surprise when you actually experience it. So yeah, I'm gonna have to acclimate to the heat and humidity again first, and get over jet lag. So I've got a few days in Tel Aviv to do that, and then I'm gonna head up north to start the Shvil. So this is the private room that I have in the hostel. It's got 2 beds, but it's private for me. It's a gorgeous old building in the old city of Jaffa, just outside of Tel Aviv. And looks like I've even got my own little kitchen and microwave for the next few days as I get myself organized for the Shvil. And because I'm sure some of you are interested, I just wanted to show you this. Okay, let's see. This is what my backpack, can you see that? No, not really. This is what my backpack looked like after they got their hands on it in the wrapping station at the airport. So it's all wrapped up in plastic, very enviro-unfriendly, but my pack got here and I think it's fine. I haven't opened it yet to check, but I'm assuming everything's fine in there, so I'm really happy. It's actually very convenient. The only trouble was the fellow was going to cut it open for the handle of the pack because they had put the security tag on it already before I went to the wrapping station, and it just looked like it was going to be a complex thing for him to do. So I told him, no, it's okay not to worry about it and just leave it. So he did. And then when I went back to put it in the checked baggage, I ran into a bit of an issue because they needed that security tag. So we had to wait for the security guy to come and put a new security tag on it. And also it's been a little bit, shall I say, complicated to carry, to lift from the cab into the hostel. So I definitely recommend that you leave a handle open if you get your backpack wrapped in plastic. And I'm really hoping that this is recycled plastic or recyclable plastic or something, because it was just reams and reams of plastic that he put on it. But I'm grateful. It was a little bit expensive too, but like I said, for what I got and the security and peace of mind that my stuff was going to make it intact, I'm really happy about that. Oh, and sorry, I have airplane nose. I think I told you I have allergies, and the air in the plane was really super crazy dry. But it was a really great flight. All right, some mild-mannered legal professionals don't usually travel business, but this time I did not want to arrive here and have my back sore before I even hit the trail. So, and plus, you only turn 50 once, right? So I splurged on business class, and that was like probably the best expense I've ever made in my life. I slept like a baby for about 7.5 hours on, inclined, or the seat made like goes into a bed. It was amazing. Yeah, I don't think I'm ever gonna fly economy again. Except that probably means I won't ever fly again because I don't have that kind of money. So, anyways, we'll see. But I had a great flight. I'm here in Tel Aviv. I have to get myself organized. I'm gonna go check out the lay of the land, and I may go tonight. I have some energy because I slept so well on the plane, and it's really like probably morning back home. Well, it is before noon back home. So I think I'm gonna go try and find myself a supermarket and also a SIM card so that I can start contacting people and letting them know I'm here and figuring out my plan. So Israel's famous feral domestic cats, which are not that domestic and not that feral either. Here you can see my backpack is emerging from the wraps and reams and reams and reams of plastic that it got wrapped in. I thought while I have this out here, I would talk a little bit about how I packed my gear, because that was something that I had some issues with trying to figure out when I was thinking about how to pack. If I could have, I would have ideally traveled carry-on only, but that was not even possible, not even a little bit, because of course I'm carrying a Swiss Army knife and stuff like that. I read online that trekking poles cannot be taken carry-on, but I asked the fellow at security, and he looked at my poles and he said, no, that's fine. And he asked, what are they? Are they sticks? And I was like, yes. And he said, no, that's fine. I didn't want to run the risk that I would run into somebody else along the way who said that it's not fine. So I packed them up in my backpack, and they got wrapped in the cocoon along with everything else, all my dangerous stuff. The other thing that I wasn't quite certain about was the drone, how that would get handled. And I ended up getting some paperwork from an Israeli drone organization that they said I needed in order to bring it in through customs. Nobody batted an eyelid when I said I had a drone, but I did have to pack it. The drone I could have checked or brought carry-on. I ended up bringing it a carry-on because I didn't want to put it in my checked baggage. And the batteries for the drone you have to take in your carry-on. So mine, like I said, is just a tiny little thing. It's a DJI Spark, and it's really tiny. I'll show you one of these days. And so the only place where that was even remotely an issue was when I was standing in the check-in line, and the Israeli security guy was questioning me and asked if I had any large electronics or anything with me. I told him I had a tiny little drone. Well, I told him I had a drone, and he kind of raised an eyebrow about that, but he didn't really pursue that. I just told him it was a tiny little thing I showed him with in my hands, and he didn't ask any more about. He asked me if I knew what the regulations were in Israel, and so I told him that I had a permit, and he was like, "Oh, okay." And after that, nobody ever asked me for the permit again. So that worked out really well with the drone. And of course, usual hassles and security with laptops and all that stuff. So that was all packed in my carry-on. Also because I wanted to try to get some work done on the plane, which I didn't because I slept so well. And yeah, so now I have to get some work done and organize my stuff. But I thought that some of you might be interested in how to pack your backpack for the airplane. And my solar umbrella, that was the other thing that I was kind of concerned about. And I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to bring that in the cabin. And my problem was it really doesn't fit in the backpack. And just the way they wrapped it up, I'm glad I didn't try to put it on the outside of my backpack. I probably could have, but I don't know. It just feels like it would have maybe got kind of warped a little bit because it was pretty tightly packed and wrapped in that plastic. So I was able to bring that on board. Now it doesn't have a sharp end at all. The end is very dull, like both ends are very dull. You can see that's the tip of it, and then that's the other end. So the guy at security, when I asked him about it, he took one look and he said, no, that's fine. The people at the check-in counter for the airline, they didn't really have any answers for any of these questions that I had about my gear, which I thought they would, but they didn't. So fortunately, they let me go out and ask the security guy and then come back. So that was really helpful. And yeah, that was about it. My camera came on board with me, and all the batteries and everything else that go with my camera and my phone and my GoPro, all that came in my carry-on with me. And one more thing I wanted to say about how I packed and sort of the complications about packing. There's a lot of stuff that I have that's like resupply. So some of that stuff, like the powdered peanut butter and stuff like that, which I didn't know if I'd be able to find in Israel. A lot of that I had to put in the checked baggage because of the regulations about powdered stuff. I just didn't want to run into any problems. I don't know if it would have been a problem, but I didn't want to risk it. So I've got a lot of stuff packed in my backpack that I now have to go and switch out and into my resupply, and a lot of stuff in my carry-ons that I now have to go out back and switch it into my backpack for the Shvil. So it's been kind of a mess in terms of figuring out how to pack, but that's international travel for you. So actually, if you're just going overseas literally just to do a trail, like say the Camino or something, you probably won't have as many issues as I did, because I'm going to be here a little bit longer than just doing the Shvil. So yeah, so it's probably easier for those of you who are just going to go backpack a trail. You can probably just pack your backpack and then maybe take like a small bag for stuff that you take carry on. But you probably will have to check your backpack and anything that you have that's dangerous goods, like knives and what else, like potentially anything, trekking poles, anything like that. I actually had switched out the carbide tips of my trekking poles to the rubber tips. So I think that actually helped me, because when I showed the security guy, there was no sharp points on it. But yeah, so if you have your carbide tips on your trekking poles, you will most definitely have to check those. And just probably a good thing to do anyways. Yeah, any other questions, just let me know in the comments below and I'll try to answer whatever I can.